basic formula to estimate the cost of electrical installation is calculated by multiplying the square footage by the cost per square foot, then adding the service panel cost. Let's consider the assumptions. The square footage is 4,200 square feet. The cost per square foot varies depending on location and complexity, typically falling between $1.0 and $3.0 per square foot. The service panel cost ranges from $1,500 to $2,500. Let's walk through an example calculation. Firstly, determine the cost per square foot. We'll assume a conservative cost of $1.50 per square foot. Secondly, calculate the basic electrical installation cost by multiplying the square footage by the cost per square foot. In this case, 4,200 square feet times $1.50 per square foot equals $6,300. Thirdly, add the service panel cost. We'll use a mid-range estimate of $2,000 for the service panel. Adding $6,300 and $2,000 equals $8,300. Therefore, based on this basic formula, a ballpark estimate for the bare minimum electrical installation in a 4,200 square foot home with a 200 amp service would be around $8,300. This is just a rough estimate, and actual costs may vary depending on specific factors such as location, labor rates, and materials used. It is important to get multiple quotes from licensed electricians and compare their estimates before making a decision. To elaborate further on factors influencing the costs, consider the following. Firstly, the geographical location significantly impacts labor costs and material prices. Urban areas generally have higher labor rates compared to rural areas. Secondly, the complexity of the electrical design affects the overall cost. A simple layout with minimal fixtures will be less expensive than a complex design with numerous outlets, switches, and specialized circuits. Thirdly, the quality of materials used influences the price. Using high-grade wiring, durable outlets, and reliable circuit breakers will increase the material cost but can provide long-term benefits. Fourthly, permit fees and inspection costs vary by municipality and must be factored into the overall estimate. Fifthly, the accessibility of the work area can affect labor costs. If the electrician has difficulty accessing certain areas, it may take longer to complete the work, increasing the labor expenses. Sixthly, the time of year can also play a role. Demand for electrical services may be higher during certain seasons, potentially driving up prices. Seventhly, unforeseen issues, such as unexpected repairs or modifications, can arise during the installation process and add to the overall cost. For example, if you encounter damaged wiring that needs to be replaced, the cost will increase. Eighthly, the choice of electrical contractor impacts the price. Different electricians have different pricing structures and levels of experience. Obtaining multiple quotes from licensed and insured contractors is crucial for comparing prices and ensuring quality workmanship. Ninthly, consider the type of wiring used. Copper wiring is the standard for residential electrical systems, but aluminum wiring may be used in some cases. Copper wiring is generally more expensive than aluminum wiring. Tenthly, the number of branch circuits required affects the cost. Each circuit requires wiring, outlets, and circuit breakers, so the more circuits needed, the higher the cost. 11thly, the amperage of the service panel impacts the price. A 200 amp service panel is common for homes, but larger homes may require a 400 amp service panel, which is more expensive. 12thly, the type of circuit breakers used affects the cost. Standard circuit breakers are less expensive than arc-fault circuit interrupter, abbreviated as arc-fault circuit interrupter, or ground-fault circuit interrupter, abbreviated as ground-fault circuit interrupter, breakers, which are required in certain areas for safety reasons. 13thly, the type of outlets and switches used impacts the price. Standard outlets and switches are less expensive than designer options, while those with special features like dimmers or USB ports. 14thly, the inclusion of smart home technology, such as smart lighting thermostats or security systems, will increase the overall cost. 15thly, energy-efficient features can add to the initial cost but provide long-term savings. For example, Installing energy-efficient lighting or appliances can reduce energy consumption and lower utility bills. 16thly, the need for any upgrades to the existing electrical system can affect the cost. If the existing system is outdated or inadequate, upgrades may be necessary to accommodate the new installation. 17thly, the complexity of the grounding system impacts the price. A proper grounding system is essential for safety and may require additional materials and labor. 18thly, the distance from the electrical panel to the outlets and fixtures affects the cost. Longer wire runs require more materials and labor. 19thly, the height of the ceilings can impact the cost. Higher ceilings may require longer ladders or scaffolding, which can increase labor time. 20thly, the presence of insulation can affect the cost. Electricians may need to work around insulation, which can slow down the process. 21stly, the type of wall and ceiling materials impacts the price. Working with plaster walls may be more difficult than working with drywall, which can increase labor time. 22ndly, the presence of asbestos or other hazardous materials can significantly increase the cost due to the need for specialized removal procedures. 23rdly, the number of stores in the home can affect the cost. Working on multiple stores may require additional time and effort, increasing labor costs. 24thly, the presence of a basement or crawl space can impact the cost. Working in these areas may be more difficult due to limited space and accessibility. 25thly, the complexity of the wiring for appliances, such as dishwashers or washing machines, affects the cost. Each appliance requires a dedicated circuit and proper wiring connections. When comparing quotes from different electricians, make sure to ask for a detailed breakdown of the cost. This will help you understand what you are paying for and identify any potential discrepancies. It is also important to check the electrician's credentials and ensure that they are licensed and insured. Requesting references from previous clients can also provide valuable insights into their work quality and customer service. Consider the payment schedule. A reputable electrician will typically require a deposit upfront and then the remaining balance upon completion of the work. Avoid electricians who demand full payment upfront before starting the job. Ensure that the contract includes a detailed scope of work, including the specific tasks to be performed, the materials to be used, and the estimated timeline for completion. Review the contract carefully before signing it and make sure that you understand all of the terms and conditions. Keep a copy of the contract and all other relevant documents in a safe place. During the electrical installation process, it is important to maintain open communication with the electrician and address any concerns or questions that you may have. Regular updates on the progress of the work can help you stay informed and ensure that the project is on track. After the electrical installation is complete, thoroughly inspect the work to ensure that it meets your expectations and complies with all applicable codes and regulations. If you identify any issues, notify the electrician immediately and request that they be resolved promptly. Obtain a certificate of compliance from the electrician, which verifies that the electrical work has been inspected and approved by a qualified authority. This certificate may be required for insurance purposes or when selling the property. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous, so it is always best to hire a qualified and experienced electrician to ensure that the job is done safely and correctly. Attempting to perform electrical work yourself can be hazardous and may violate local codes and regulations. Consider factors such as the electrician's experience, reputation, and pricing when making your decision. Ultimately, the best way to get an accurate estimate for the electrical installation in a new construction project is to consult with multiple licensed electricians and obtain detailed quotes based on your specific needs and requirements. By carefully considering all of the relevant factors and obtaining multiple quotes, you can make an informed decision and ensure that the electrical work is completed to your satisfaction. Don't hesitate to ask questions and seek clarification on any aspects of the project that you don't understand. A reputable electrician will be happy to explain the process and address any concerns that you may have. Safety should always be the top priority when dealing with electrical work. Make sure that the electrician follows all safety precautions and uses appropriate equipment to protect themselves and others. If you have any doubts about the electrician's qualifications or safety practices, it is best to seek a second opinion. Electrical work is an important investment in your home, so it is worth taking the time to find a qualified and reliable electrician who can provide quality workmanship at a fair price. Be wary of electricians who offer significantly lower prices than other contractors, as this may be a sign of inexperienced or unqualified labor. Remember that the cheapest option is not always the best option, especially when it comes to electrical work. A well-done electrical installation will provide years of safe and reliable service, while a poorly done installation can lead to costly repairs and potential safety hazards. Always choose quality over cost when it comes to electrical work. By following these guidelines, you can help ensure that your electrical installation project is a success.